these two bills. It is my hope that we will be able to proceed civilly and with decorum and with respect for one another.
On a bill that would strip Disney of what is known as its self-governing status. They can make their own laws.
We do not do payback in the state of Florida. We stand up for parental rights.
You know, Democrats, some of them are going after you on this. Jen Psaki was on a podcast this week, and she was asked about this topic, and it got emotional. Just give this a listen here.
A community of kids, especially. I'm like going to get emotional about this issue because it's horrible. But you know, it's like kids who are bullied, and like all these leaders are taking steps to hurt them and hurt their lives and hurt their families. And you look at some of these laws in these states, and it is going after parents who are in loving relationships who have kids. This is an issue that makes me completely crazy.
So I don't know if you've heard that before, but we played it for you now. What do you say to her?
You know what's amazing, Bill, is I'm sure Jen can read just fine.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I don't think I've ever really quite seen anything like this. I don't think I've ever really seen where you have like this such a close relationship between the government and a corporation, although pharmaceuticals would probably be the closest thing to it. But the absolute literal reading that was happening from politicians yesterday as the bill passed to revoke special privileges afforded to Disney. These people are adults. These people are supposedly adults. Supposedly, I beg to differ. It sure doesn't seem like it, to be honest with you. But here we are. I mean, the dude, like in this video that I'm going to share with you, is perhaps, I don't even really know how to describe it. It's a political proceeding, but it seems to most closely represent the inauguration in 2006 of President at the time, Donald Trump. Annie Noah tweets, Democrats in the Florida House of Representatives can be heard yelling and shrieking after lawmakers voted to remove Disney's special tax status, a privilege it held for 55 years. Disney employs 38 lobbyists in Tallahassee and donates generously to politicians. Let's just take a listen to this. This is right after lunch. Just take a listen.
And we will vote on these two bills. It is my hope that we will be able to proceed civilly and with decorum and with respect for one another. Read the next bill.
By Senator Bradley, Senate Bill 4C, a bill to be entitled an act relating to independent special districts.
Representative Fine, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It seems as Mickey and many have joined us in the chamber today. That said, this is the bill that we discussed yesterday.
It's literally insane. They're yelling and screeching because apparently they want to out themselves as paid operatives for Disney. I don't even get it. By the way, it passed anyway, so get wrecked. And by the way, the Disney stock, a lot of people, equate, the kind of public outing, like I think it was Chris Rufo that did it, a journalist that kind of enlightened everybody in terms of their critical race theory stuff and all this, the employee training, their whole involvement. By the way, Disney's involvement in the Parental Rights and Education Act in Florida has been an absolute unmitigated disaster. The Disney stock, again, down another $3 today. For the year to date is down 40%. 40%. It is also down 35% over the last 365 days. All of this stuff is related in some way, shape, or form. By the way, if you're enjoying my coverage, if you're watching on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, please take a moment on this wonderful Friday to consider subscribing. I would greatly, greatly appreciate the support. I know you may have to create an account, and that can be a pain, but it's hard to find my videos in search, and it's even if you already go to my channel every day, it's good for YouTube to see people subscribing, and it helps, I believe, in terms of getting videos recommended. You see this article, Disney stock has tanked 33% in the last year amid Florida's classroom orientation bill and is on track to be one of the worst performing stocks of 2022. Sure, the right Newsmax is very right leaning. Even Fox, of course. There are other more complicated reasons for their stock to be slipping, but it is not unrelated. Disney is poised to rank among the worst performing stocks in 2022 after the company became embroiled in high-profile political controversy. The stock reached an all-time high in March of 2021, trading at nearly $200 a share, but it has been in a free fall ever since. As the market closed Thursday, the stock was hovering near $120 a share, roughly 33% down from a year ago. The company has been in the spotlight in recent weeks after it publicly opposed a bill Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed that prohibits classroom instruction on orientation and gender identity for very, very young kids. The House, of course, passed the bill Thursday. Also, that would dissolve Walt Disney's special governing power in the state, a move that could have huge tax implications for Disney, one of the state's largest private employers with more than 60,000 workers. The bill now heads to DeSantis' desk, where he will sign it. This is a power play, of course. Ron DeSantis does not like Disney playing around. Ron DeSantis doesn't like Disney making political statements. Now, again, I do think it is a slippery slope when we have, the government getting involved in, kind of the private sector of all this kind of stuff. And that is not something I necessarily would support. However, when we're talking about super huge mega corporations and when we're accepting the fact that our government is already in bed with so many of these corporations, in particular in the pharmaceutical world, it's difficult to pretend like this is something new. Bob Chapek's handling of past conflicts has also seen its share of criticism. The New York Post, per the New York Post, he is also reported to have a strained relationship with the company's former CEO, Bob Iger. Disney is also bogged down by investors' diminishing enthusiasm for streaming services. As inflation eats into America's pocketbooks, Netflix shares in particular dropped 35% this week on news that the streaming platform had lost 200,000 subscribers. And that's exactly another very important part of this. Americans have less, having less available money. Look at this stock for Netflix. Down $125 a share in the past 5 days. Why? Because when you're putting an extra $30 a week into your gas tank just to get to work, you start wondering about where your other money's going. You have to tighten your belt a little bit. What ends up happening is you cut things. You're like, wait, I haven't logged into Netflix in months. I'm going to cut that. I haven't logged into Disney Plus in 4 months. I'm going to cut out of that. People are cutting that stuff. Oh, I see an article about Disney getting involved into politics and apparently wanting teachers to teach third graders about gender identity. Maybe I want to get rid of that. We can't pretend like the left likes to pretend like the right's moral unsubscribing from things is completely irrelevant, and that's absurd. There are thousands of people that chose to leave Netflix after their little cuties debacle, and there are thousands more that decided to leave Disney over all of this. Now, does it paint the whole picture? Of course not. Is it even the most important part of it? Probably not. If they had great content, people would probably ignore it for the most part and still buy it. But now the media, the spin zone is in full. There must be 50 articles with a similar headline. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis may repeal Disney special tax status, but tax officials and legislators say that the move could leave local taxpayers to cover more than $1 billion bond in debt. Ooh. They'll just increase the tax on Disney. They cover it up all they want. Now, the legislation approved Thursday by lawmakers seeks to sunset Reedy Creek by June 2023. If dissolved, the responsibility for the municipal services then falls upon the neighboring counties of Orange and Osceola. Osceola? I don't know. Sorry. Osceola? Whatever. If you dissolve Reedy Creek, that's $105 million in revenue literally goes away. It doesn't get transferred, Randolph said. Therefore, saddling taxpayers to cover it, if not all of the costs. Maybe. Or maybe they just tax Disney more. Florida introduces new amusement industry for companies that begin with D, special tax. What they're doing is they're like literally shilling for Disney. They're like, oh, your taxes are going to go up because of this. No, they're not. They're not. And I'm not even entirely sure that DeSantis is going to sign this. I think this is him saying, Disney, you want to play with me? I'll play with you. And it's going to cost you a lot more than it will me. It's actually been quite interesting to watch as it unfolds. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.